Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to day 4. Oh, this one is a little bit more to sit with, this stanza. So taking your time, settling in, allowing this video to be a simple reminder of how important your breath is. No matter what you're doing, being mindful of your breath will be a tool to help you, I shouldn't say even help it, a tool to invoke presence. There we go, to invoke. Words are so important, and to help kind of sets the idea that there's always something to do better. And I'm inviting you just to challenge all of the things that invoke dis-ease and to understand it. So that leads into this stanza, right? And knowing that this looking at what is causing our dis-ease and our discomfort is a space of grace, compassion, and inner understanding. Because as you're probably likely picking up on as I'm sharing these things, one of the practices I absolutely love is the contemplation practice. And that is the practice of making something, taking something as inspiration and exploring what's unconscious to make it conscious for a space of empowerment, authenticity, integrity, knowing thyself, loving thyself with grace and unconditional love, because that is what we will ripple out. And this idea of a more harmonious world to live in, knowing perfection is, that would be boring. We're here to have the aliveness of life. And that was in stanza 2, for the adventure of being alive, but not at the cost of pain and suffering perpetually, going on. And that's the invitation, right? Where we can find dis-ease to allow ourselves to understand that. One, to kind of structure our life in a way that serves in a more harmonious way for ourselves and others, but also as we're approaching the things that cause us dis-ease. That's just our nervous system protects us. It knows, it feels heat, and we respond unconsciously without even to that idea. And so can we temper that nervous system to be more harmonious and less reactive, reenacting the past, but responding from a space of mindful awareness for yourself? And I listened to a video yesterday of some spiritual truths that no one says, and really unpack some of them, and it doesn't feel appropriate to share here per se, but just there's these underlining things that guide and that we come to know. And one of the things that I keep coming back to is how, what drives our ambitions, what inspires our actions, what at the end of the day. And I've been in an interesting place in my life and of death and rebirth, and it's just like, what is asking for my energy and what isn't? And it's a beautiful space, but it's also like very humbling and challenging and to really figure out, like, where do I want to invest my energy and why? And what are the places and spaces in the past that I have invested so much into? And why have I stayed there? What inspired me to go back every day? What hurt and struggled in that? And where do I want to invest that vulnerability again? Like, so many questions, so many things to contemplate. But that's the beauty of really coming and having this space to unpack and choose, especially in a time of rebirth and this new year, this 10-year, this one, the new beginning. And it's so reflective in my life of the truth of where I found myself. And so bringing inspiration to inspire you as I do that work as well. And this poem is one that I always come back to and love revisiting it with you. This line, it's a deep one, is, I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it, fade it, or fix it. And have you ever been in that situation where that has been real for you? I have. And if you haven't ever done any eye gazing with another or an individual or yourself, I challenge you to do that. Sit with yourself and really sit and look in the mirror. Gaze in your eyes and allow yourself to see. Really sit with pain. What's the pain you carry? Can you sit with your own pain without hiding it, fixing it, or fading it? Can you really let it surface? Can you feel so deeply the pain that you've experienced, that you fundamentally can see the pain you've caused another, or the pain others experience that maybe you don't understand? How can you acknowledge when there's pain? I'm a deep feeler and empath, and as an intuitive and someone who's harnessed this, intuitive spirit, and this, it's just been a natural thing where feeling others' pain is there, and with that, being able to be with it without having to hide from it or fade it or fix it, just hold space. And I know in my deepest parts of when I'm really in pain, that's idea of someone who can just sit with me in it. Don't say a dang thing. Just feel it in the air and let me feel it. It's a beautiful time and space when you can be with someone in that, and there's nothing to change it. Especially if, you're sitting with someone who's in the end of their days, deeply uncomfortable after a medical, event or something, and there's nothing to do to change it. It's just being in it and allowing it to move through and pass naturally with as much ease. And when we can soften around that, in my Vipassana practice and my first Vipassana I went to, it was 10 days and I ran away at day 6 because of this very reason. My body was in so much pain. It was really, the whole point of it is to dissolve and to be with the pain, which I did, and learned so much. But then it was speaking to me and telling me what it was really needing me to do. And that invitation to listen, right? When your pain gets to a space where the inspired action, the aligned action, the next step is not to hide, to fade, or to fix it, but to simply honor it. So allowing yourself the space to honor it in the most loving and kind way for yourself and for one another. In a deep contemplation practice that is rooted in love and compassion and grace and honor and understanding and safety and security and true authenticity for you. Deeply personal, deeply individual, and deeply transformative towards what the end of this poem is saying in the last stanza. I don't want to know, or I want to know if you can be alone with yourself, and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. And I'm going to keep coming back to that one at the end to remind you, or I will as it flows, but it's the point of looking at each of these stanzas, so not to get lost in the guilt, shame, condemnation, all of those things. We've been taught from a space of that. And this is inviting a new way, a new look, a new perspective. No longer having to learn and to evolve through more suffering for one another. Who really likes to act from that space? I like to believe they don't. They do because they've been taught no other way. And it's equally as destructive to them as it is to the other. And I invite a space to be vulnerable and allow space to be messy, explore ways of showing up differently, explore being vulnerable, explore showing your hurt and your pain and your different way of view, regardless of if it's, the norm or not. But because what's been done in the past in the space of, condemning and breaking down one another, instead coming from it from a new way. And I believe these practices will inspire the shift collectively in everyone. So starting with yourself and looking within and really unpacking this stanza. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to show up as it flows and as it's inspired without having to overly perfect it. All right. Thank you, and many blessings. Remembering to come back to your breath, breathing in, filling that body, nourishment, the medicine, the aliveness, inviting the awareness, and exhale and listening and letting go. Observing and watching. Tuning into that heart center. It is the center. It radiates without your awareness at a frequency and a vibration and an aura that is one you have more control of than you know. So taking the time and space to do this inner work and coming back to your heart and back to yourself and remembering your wholeness. Until next time, my friends, many blessings. Mwah.